Munciana Courtside, show number 7, season number 5. Did about 15 lessons today. Rode 30 miles on my bike. I get to finish it with my buddy talking about volleyball to you. Happy birthday edition. Happy birthday, Randy. This cat is doing nothing but celebrating lately, if you notice it. Weddings, birthdays, it's a big time to be a Randy, or be a Gardner.
Yeah, not too bad.
But let's get it going, Rando.
All right, last week highlights, we talked about Monday. Ron Colley was heading to Perry Meridian, and Ron Colley took him down 4.
Yeah, Ron Colley's good.
Yep.
You know, Ron Colley, I keep talking, it was interesting. I saw Shimbra this week, and, you know, a lot of those old school coaches, Kesterson and Rhonda. And, you know, I tell you what, that Ron Colley, it's really neat when you see a legacy type program like Ron Colley, and they've always been good.
Yeah.
Ron Colley is very, very good. Perry Meridian, I watched play. Boy, Barrett is the real deal.
Yeah.
She does a lot of things. She handles the ball. She's got great hands. She's very unselfish. Perry Meridian probably needs to bring her inside a little bit more, and we'll talk about high school teams needing to bring outside hitters in, move them around a little bit. But that doesn't surprise me. Ron Colley's a really solid team, and Meridian's they got up and down a little bit because of some youth, but they're pretty solid. That's a good game.
Tuesday night, we talked about Bishop Knoll was heading to Andrean, and Bishop Knoll beat him in 4. Sorry.
Andrean, crazy athletic Knoll. You know, I'm telling you what, there is really a nice resurgence of really good volleyball happening in the Fort Wayne area. And we talked about those lessons today, running lessons, and we had a bunch of kids down from Fort Wayne, and man, some gifted athletes, 100%. And I tell you, that area is growing fast. It is really growing fast. But Bishop Knoll, very, very good team. Andrean, one of the most physical teams in their class.
Yep. Wednesday, we were talking about Franklin Central was heading to Center Grove, and Center Grove swept them.
Center Grove's going to start sweeping a lot of people. Center Grove is really, really, really improved. Chris Dew, coaching there, and I talked to you earlier today, and I talked to him. I will tell you, he's doing a great job. That team has great chemistry, and the guys that I mentioned early in the season that were youngish, the pins in the middle, and they're improving, man.
Good.
They're really improving. They battle on defense. Gave Newcastle all they wanted. They lost in a set 3. Passing broke a little. But I tell you what, MJ Hamill dishes the rock, and these guys are getting better in every single position, and that team is improving fast. They're going to be a tough out come October.
No doubt. Thursday, we got 2 games we talked about. Cathedral went to Yorktown. Yorktown swept them.
Yorktown swept every single team they played this year.
They're closing on about 100 sets in a row.
Yeah, I tell you, the only thing with Yorktown right now is, and it's tough. The only way the better team loses to the lesser team is if the lesser team cares more. Yorktown's trended towards a little bit of sloppiness in the last couple of weeks, and that's hard. I'll tell you right now, Steph Bloom has done a remarkable job. With that said, the hardest part of her job is probably coming.
Yep.
You know, you want to keep winning, and winning doesn't mean you have to win every set. But for them, winning is a set by set thing. Those guys play every single point. Early in the season, there was a sense of urgency and a commitment to excellence on every point, and that's kind of slipped a little bit. But also, there's some wear and tear whenever you're, you know, the New York Yankees.
Yeah, the stressful situation.
It's stressful, man. And there is a bullseye on the backside of this Yorktown group that's as big as any. You know, somebody talked to me this weekend, and we're talking about Yorktown, and I told him, you know, I love Assumption. I'm probably the biggest fan of Ron Cordes that there is in this world. He's like a father to me, a brother to me, and a best friend. I would love to see Yorktown play Assumption. If Assumption's #1 in the country right now, I would love to see Yorktown play them because they are the complete opposite team, and that would be a war. And I'm telling you, Yorktown, best team in the state of Indiana. I am not 100% sure they're not the best team in the country.
Well, right now, Max Prep's the 3rd.
They've got to get back to just absolutely grinding out every point, and they got to get to the point where they want to send a message. They start going back to sending messages. This thing's over.
The other game on Thursday night we talked a little bit about was Avon went to Fishers,
Yeah.
big pink night, and Fishers 1-4.
You know, Avon has a couple kids. I was not aware that Eastridge has been, she's had a nagging injury all year long. You know, an oblique injury or an abdominal injury. Slowest heel in the business, man. If you've ever had one, you know what I'm talking about. Real slow heel. So they're using her sparingly, trying to get through. You know, if Avon's interesting. If Eastridge isn't on the floor, Avon is the smallest team in the state of Indiana.
Yeah.
And they're tiny. But they're playing awfully well. But they were missing a couple of kids and missing a starter on the pin that night and a ball handler. And then Eastridge is about 50%. With that said, Fishers is on a roll. Yeah. And, you know, we kept talking about they got a couple of kids, whether it be Hayworth or Jada in the middle. They got some kids that they're young, yeah, but we're past the halfway mark. Understand that after the halfway mark, you really are rising to the next year. So a sophomore could now almost be considered a rising junior, yeah, because they're moving and trending in that direction. And this Fishers team is coming to life. And I'm telling you, I'll take Duffy any day of the week as a leader. Yep. She's a great setter, and every great team has to have great bro play, great setter play. Fishers has that. Yep. And it's going to be interesting down the stretch.
Yeah, and even talked with Rose after the game a little bit, and she said that they really started to click in the last week when those kids came back. They started to turn in the corner a little bit, so that's good to see.
There's opportunity in adversity.
Yeah.
You know, and you guys make mistakes. Guys, you know, we all make mistakes. Yeah. How we rebound from that or how we respond to those mistakes makes us who we are. You know, our decisions create our experiences create who we are. And these guys, maybe not a great decision, had to endure the experience, and they could come out of this better. I like what this Fishers team is doing.
Lazy Boy games of the week. We're going to hit on a couple of them. The first one we're not going to pick is Monday night, though. I'll tell you what, it's really the first time you can look at these two teams in a long time, maybe ever, where they're both with 21-5. Monroe Central's headed to LaPel, which is now 23-2, tops in wins and the least amount of losses in 2A.
You know, LaPel, they've done a great job.
Yep.
I mean, you know, that's just, you know, they beat a good Cowan team, a small school, but LaPel's is well coached and they've got a lot of athletes. Monroe Central simply never really on the volleyball map, but as a school is probably increased and improved athletically over the last 5 years.
Football, basketball,
as much as anybody. You could almost argue that the addition of football at that school totally changed, gave a paradigm shift to the way that school approached athletics. And so that'll be fun. You know, LaPel, I think, is probably the little better team. But Xavier and the Cats, let's see what they can pull off. But that'll be a good game.
Yep. One of the games we are going to pick, same night, Monday night, we got Ron Colley 17-4 heading to Heritage Christian, which is now 14-5 on the year.
Oof. Man, we're picking this one?
Yep. Going out of the
well, I tell you too, I've already told you, I'm a big Ron Colley guy. I love the history. I love what they've done over a long period of time. And I love what they're doing this year. They're very good. I don't think they're good enough to crack that elite. But man, they're going to give people a fits. They play hard. They're a very aggressive team. They serve it. They're really a solid team. Heritage Christian, well set. You know, I watched it. The Snyder kick and dish the rock. Solid little ball handler. And his the coaching there is off the charts. Michelle York is maybe the most underrated coach in the state. And the Colvin kid, Raymond Colvin, is the real deal. You're talking about a kid touching 10-6. You know, that's, for those of you who don't understand 10-6, that's 6 inches would be a full hand over the rim. I mean, this kid gets up. I saw a little video that kind of went out last week of Colvin hitting a kid in the head. I mean, just blasting a quick sit out of the middle and just drilling the left back, knocked her down like a Matrix move. I mean, these guys are a real deal. They got some kids on the pin that can bang it. I'm going to go with the upset special on this one. I'm going with Heritage Christian to win this, and I think it's a 4, maybe a 5, but I think that Heritage Christian shakes some people up here. I think Heritage Christian has a good shot at being in the state championships this year.
Correct, no doubt. I think that if you talk about the 2A wise, they got a really good shot at finding their way. Roncally's going to be that tough out. I'm going with a little bit of history. I'm going with the Roncalli Rebels.
All right.
Tuesday night, we'll talk about. This is always a great match. Doesn't matter if they're on a down year or a great year.
Old school.
Always a great match. Cathedral 17-10 heading to Carmel, which is 17-8.
Two teams that are trending in the right direction. Two coaches that took over programs that.
Not easy.
No. Following icons, especially and more so in Cathedral's case. But both of those guys have legacy programs, and the expectations at both those programs are nightmarish. I watched a Cathedral this week. Cathedral is not that Cathedral team a couple years ago. They had 91 kids on it, and #1 team in the nation, and just physically mowed over people.
Yeah.
But they are much improved. A year away, potentially Carmel, maybe the same. But it'll be a fun match. That's good volleyball. Anytime those two type of schools get together, it's a war.
Yep. Also on Tuesday night, Mount Vernon will pick this one, 17-5, heading to good old Fisher, 13-4 on the year.
Well, I picked the first one first. You picked this one.
Yeah. You know what? Mount Vernon, we talked about, they've been up and down at times, but they've had a really great year. You know, they had a couple little ruts here and there. Great coach, great team, everything else. And you go Fishers. I like Fisher's hot hand right now. And with Duffy and those guys around the show, and the middles were connecting well, and the ball controls picked up tremendously. And so I think it's going to be Fishers. I'm calling Fishers in 4.
All right. Mount Vernon, as you put it, Eric took over there 4 to 5 years ago, and he resurrected that program, Eric Beaumont.
Yeah, it was.
And that program was really in a mess, and he had almost immediate results. And they've been on a steady climb since. Yeah. I mean, that program has really become a little bit of a juggernaut in the area in the sense that they just continue to plug to higher and higher. He gave Newcastle all they wanted. They played a lot of people close. You know, he's got a big week. He gets Lowy Ball in Angola and Belmont this weekend.
Travels up the Fort Wayne.
Yeah. So Beaumont gets to mess with Kroll and Ball, and that could be fun for him. But before he gets to go there, he's got to go through Fishers. And I think the Fishers is too much. I think it is going to be a good match. I would not be surprised to see 5. I think 4 is probably a good call. I go Fishers as well. I think that the depth of Fishers is a little bit more. Mount Vernon very thin. And once again, Rose Duffy is a difference maker. And then you add in a couple of really gifted athletes in the front row and a really rising back row. I think that gives Fishers a little bit of an edge.
Thursday night, a good game. We talked about Newcastle being 25-4, heading to Muncie Burris 18-3. The one thing I like about that, good work by Newcastle and Muncie Burris. They moved off of the Saturday night Delaware County Championship because it was always one of those matches. Do you go watch a great legacy match like that, or do you go to the county championship? So I'm glad in our area they picked it on a different
this
night.
match used to be really, really special in the John Shondell versus Steve Shondell era. Not that it's dropped off. I tell you, Burris is closing in on getting back to where they were. Newcastle, it made major strides this weekend to getting to where they need to go. I saw there were a couple of matches where they were really committed to playing hard every point, and when they did that, they were really good. Now, when they take a sabbatical or a little nap, Coach Roush and the gang, it's a little tough to watch. But when this team is fully engaged and buying in and not making stupid errors, they're a dangerous team. That should be a really fun match. Like I said, Burris being important and being a vital, it's vital to success in this area. When Burris is really, really good, it's good for everybody. It's like in the Big Ten. You need Ohio State and Michigan to be good to make for a really good Big Ten in football. I think the same thing about Burris.
It's just like about golf today. I mean, Tiger Woods picks up his first win. Golf becomes exciting.
It's relevant again. It's relevant. Welcome back to relevancy. Tiger wearing red and celebrating is a good thing.
I always put this one down here just because it means a lot to you in the area.
It does mean a lot.
Delaware County tournament starting this week. What sucks for the rest of those guys at Yorktown is the cream of the crop. So you got Delville and Cowan will play. The winner will get Yorktown. On the other side, you got Wapahani and Westell will do battle to get Delta in the semifinal.
Well, Wapahani will play Yorktown in the finals of that tournament. the thing that people have got to be careful of is, it's called the Delaware County Tournament. If it wasn't played at Wapahani, we could very easily call it the Yorktown Invite.
Correct.
Because they've really started to take that thing over. Step Bloom is, it makes it a habit of winning that tournament. Yorktown will end up, I believe, playing Wapahani on Saturday night, and Yorktown will sweep Wapahani and take home another title.
Yeah.
I know we're not predicting it, but it is what it is.
It is. The dark horse would probably be a Delta team, maybe slipping by a WAP, but I agree with you. I think it's a Yorktown WAP final.
Yorktown doesn't lose a set still.
No, definitely not. I don't know.
Fired up,
I don't even know if they do.
All right.
We'll bring it up in a couple weeks from now. Raymond James Players to know. We got 5 more here. These are the last 5 that actually are committed. If there is anybody else out there that we have not hit, we're now 7 shows into this thing. We've officially hit supposedly all of the committed people in prep oddball that have
it's amazing, man, when you start to look at this. We'll open with Sophie Oliphant.
Yeah.
Really an underrated player. Carmel's been a little off the radar, but Sophie is very good. Sophie is very consistent, kind of a blue-collar player, and she's just steady. It's not one of those kids that you're going to be wowed by right off the bat, but I will tell you, she's like Novocaine. Sooner or later, you're gonna know she's there. She just slowly takes you out of it. Very good server, very good passer, very good defender, and becoming a very good leader. But IU and Steve Aird came in right away, and brought Oliphant on board, and I think it's a great move. She's going to be a good culture player for him.
Yeah, no, and it's kind of going back to it. I laugh about it because Jason Young, when we were coaching her, he called her the closer. She'd come in and just serve darts.
She's the silent assassin.
79 sets this year, going to IU, like you talked about, 25 aces, 357 digs, 47 assists.
That's awesome.
Off to a great start.
She's a great little player.
Yep.
Senior at Zionsville, Lauren Latka.
Yep.
Akron commit, and you look at it. I mean, same type of thing. Defensively, just a wizard. I mean, this kid's putting up massive numbers, and I think will be a real force in the MAC. And that's the thing we keep talking every week. Every kid, there are kids all over this state that are going to go to the next level and make an immediate impact. Not impacts, but immediate impacts. This is one.
Yeah, 98 total sets, 19 aces, 408 digs. I mean, you look at that set-wise, she's almost at 4 a set, which is, pretty.
That's huge.
Yeah, no doubt. 31 assists. And kind of like you talked about with Zionsville, she's been the guy that's kept Zionsville in the picture across the board.
Yes.
So, heck of a start.
Gretchen Kuchen, single-handedly trying to get me a free lunch. LCC. Yeah, I haven't forgot. Yep.
They did take down Cowan this week.
I'm just telling you right now, the LCC guys tweeted us almost immediately and told me they were looking to help me out with lunch. I may have to take those guys out for lunch. They're having a remarkable season.
Yeah.
And all they're doing is winning. And Gretchen's one of the reasons they're doing it. She's going to be a great addition to Indiana State, but she is dominating the net for these guys. And I think that having a player of her magnitude in that class is. We've watched over the years when, just a great player comes in and dominate. You saw it with Christian Academy over the last couple of years. This is the same type of deal. And Gretchen's going to be a huge, huge addition to that Sycamore lineup. She's got to get through the state championship still with LCC this year.
Yeah. 62 sets total played, 260 kills, 25 aces, 25 blocks, 187 digs. And like you talked about this weekend, here from some of the coaching staff, they did tell me that she was a stud and was really, really, really phenomenal. So get out here if you haven't yet.
Tell you this, the next young lady heard nothing but good things about all weekend. Reagan Hopp. Reagan Hopp is the anchor for that rebuff team. Jason Young had made comment that Reagan Hopp hit every ball. He said just hit every ball, front row, back row, hit every ball. I thought she was really special in last year's state championships. Maybe a little nervous on the big stage there. She's not going to be nervous if she gets back on that stage again this year. A senior, heading to Seton Hall. I will tell you, I think that's a steal for Seton Hall. She will go there and change things immediately. This kid can play.
Yep.
And I think she is one of the real secrets in the area. And, I think that, if you haven't had a chance to get out and see her, Brebeuf had a pretty big weekend.
Yeah.
Brebeuf takes down Providence.
Would probably have the best weekend of the state if they didn't have a little hiccup on one game. But other than that, it's a great
If they don't lose to Westfield.
Yeah.
If they don't lose to Westfield, Brebeuf has, you're right, the biggest weekend of the year for anybody. And Hop was the major reason. This kid can go.
Yep. 51 sets total played, 218 kills, 9 aces, 23 blocks. Well, I was cracking up about the 9 aces. She doesn't serve very often. I think she has like 20 attempts on the year and has like 9 aces.
It's pretty good percentage.
There. 23 blocks and 129 digs.
Yeah, she's going to be a special one. And the last one is Elizabeth Eads. Another Steve Aird get. And I'm telling you, Steve Aird at IU is looking for
Indianapolis.
University of Indianapolis. Yep. Jason. These guys, whether it's Steve Aird or whether it's Jason at University of Indianapolis, those guys are character guys. They're culture guys. They want guys that are going to come in and just as much change how the game is played, change how people think. And, Eads is one of the reasons Ron Colley is as pesky as they are.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys, they're going to be a brutal out come tournament time, and Eads is the big reason why.
Yeah. Big middle, 61 sets total played, 142 kills, 58 blocks on the year, and 34 digs.
It's a pretty steady player.
Yeah.
Pretty steady player. Great players. Get out and see some of these guys play. And what Randy said, if there's more that we haven't hit on, we've hit on 30, 40 guys now that are all going away to play. But if there are more guys out there that have committed and that we're not aware of, Providence guys reached out to me and hit me with warnings right away that she's going to produce. So let us know, and this by no means is the list of the best. There's more.
Yeah.
There's a lot of players that haven't committed. But this so far is all of our commits. But hit us if you have any others. But congrats to all these players. Great players.
Yeah. Next part, going back to a little bit of a childhood here. I was trying to figure out what we could do with different topics and different things since, we're at that point of the year where you got to start changing some stuff up.
Now that you're married, you got to think like that. You got to change stuff up, Biggs. Can't be boring. I'm just kidding. That's free advice for all those of you that are out there that are married. Don't get stagnant.
Yeah.
So I'm liking where your head's at already. You're already thinking.
Yeah.
So you're calling this?
Like I said, I'm going with my childhood, my Nintendo days, my Super Nintendo days.
Super Nintendo.
NBA Jam presents They're on Fire, and they're heating up. So I wanted to hit on a lot of things. There's a lot of great teams. We got 3 undefeated teams left.
Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
See, I was more of an Atari Pong guy, but I'll give you the NBA Jam. Yeah. NBA Jam, they're on fire.
The guys that are on fire. I thought there was 3 of them I thought we could throw out there. Yorktown. We talked about Yorktown.
We're going to go out on a limb,
I mean, that's already been sizzling. That thing's been on fire for months over there. Longest winning streak in the state.
69 straight sets. Yeah, I'm going to go with on fire. NBA Jam or not, I'm going to take those guys in Pong. I'm going to take those guys in Breakout. I'm going to take those guys in Frogger.
Yeah.
Whether we're Atari or Nintendo, those guys are definitely on fire.
Yeah, no, and like I said, I wanted to hit on just put them out there.
Great stuff. Great stuff.
LCC, longest streak in 1A, only 2 behind Yorktown overall in the entire state. They're now 21-0 on the year.
Yeah, I tell you, they're really one of the best kept secrets. Small class, but I don't care what class you are. Undefeated's undefeated. And these guys are only going to get better. I talked to some folks locally, and they were talking about their team they think come tournament time is going to be really, really good, and we'll gain ground on this LCC group. I can tell you this: LCC, great tradition. LCC, great momentum. LCC, great coaching. LCC, great offensive balance. That equals 21-0, and that equals a really tough outcome tournament time. On fire, no doubt.
Yep. Last one is probably the most kept secret. Former Munciana player, we talked about her a few weeks ago, still undefeated now, longest in 3A, 21-0 on the year. Western.
I, it blows me away. But you know what? Sasha Gill, Sasha Perkett now, was one of the real special competitors.
Quiet, yeah.
But a quiet assassin. I mean, she always was working, always had a plan, and it was really important to win. You know, sometimes in the high school thing is 50%. It's a middle. When championship teams are made, when mental preparation and attitude matches up with physical preparation. Everybody has the ability to get that physical preparation going, but not everybody has that ability to get the mental prep in. And Sasha was that guy. She was a very cerebral player, and it's neat to see it translate to her team. 21-0. Once again, say what you want. You could ask, you know, who are they playing? Where are they at? I don't care. You win 21 times without a hiccup. That's nice. That's 100% nice. I love that. Congrats to those guys.
Yeah. Going to the next part, they're heating up. The reason why I hit on this, there's some people that are really starting to put some good streaks together and have great records. Well, the one that really stood out to me was Hagerstown. Started off 5-4. You know,
yes,
we picked those guys to get in the 2A state championship at that point. At 5-4, I was thinking, oh God, I don't know if they're going to get there. Now they've rattled off 9 straight, the second longest in the 2A. And they're 15 or 14-5.
You know, people that care more and work more usually get more. Brian Dell is a care more and work more guy. You know, he came in. I spoke to the Hagerstown team about dreams, about creating and chasing dreams, and creating great and chasing great last week. You know, and it was really an honor for me to do it, and I get to do it tomorrow in Buffalo, New York, with the University of Buffalo, and I think that the athletes are about the same there too. University of Buffalo last year in basketball went to the Sweet 16. Hagerstown last year was right on the doorstep too, you know, semi-state team.
Yep.
And so you're talking about the same speech for both programs. Yeah, this Hagerstown team. They're big. They've got a couple kids that are surprising. They've got a middle hitter that is a bouncy kid, man. She flies, and she is very deceiving. They've got a younger setter that I had the opportunity and blessing to work with last week as well that I think is going to be really good. But what they've got is a coach that refuses to accept mediocrity. He took over a program that was as bad as any program in the state at one time. And I will tell you right now, he's put them on the map, and he's done it with diligence and hard work. Those that care more and work more will always get more. And Hagerstown is heating up. That's a good call for you.
Leo really taken off here. They're now 19-1. The only person who has a longer streak is Western in 3A. They've now won 15 straight. They've beaten everybody in Fort Wayne, just about, except for, I want to say it was Doing.
Yes. Leo, the alma mater of one Lauren Gebert, LJ, the greatest athlete to ever come out of Leo, by the way. They're on fire. They're part of what I said earlier. Fort Wayne is on the rise. And this team is, you know, do I think that they're the pride and joy of that area? I think that's still a Dwinger and a Carroll thing. I think that, you know, Concordia may be a little down, but they're still dangerous. Belmont is good. But Leo, heck yeah, they're right there at 19-1. One hiccup on the season. That's beautiful.
Another one that's really quietly cruised right through 12 straight now.
Yeah.
Out of the South, we don't see them as much in our area, but off to phenomenal start, 21-1 on the year. Castle.
Yeah, and I tell you, I think that I'm going to get to see them in a couple weeks. And I hope they're still rolling at that point. I think that Castle is really, it could be the pride of the far South. Now, that South is going to be interesting to get out of come tournament time. But Castle, you know, a school that has great athletic history is really putting together a year to remember volleyball-wise.
Yep. Last one we talked about, 11 straight, and now 21-4 in the year. But one thing I did look at record-wise, they've only got 2 losses to Indiana teams.
Yeah, they play the border teams.
They played in Chicago at a big tournament, lost to a couple great teams there. Munster now 21-4 in the year.
Well, Munster's good, you know, and I think that You know, the fact that they playing in that tournament in Illinois, in Chicago, I mean, that's a world-class tournament.
Yeah.
You know, and the best teams in America are in that thing. So,
Yeah.
you know, Munster, no surprise. You know, only 2 losses to Indiana teams. You know, once again, it's going to be
I
interesting
think the
to see.
first game was, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Crown Point. They played in the first game of the year, lost in 5, and then we saw the Crown Points at up and down here, but Munster's turned it on.
No, Munster is very good, and you know the North is going to come down to the Laportes, the Munsters, the Penns, the Crown Points. It's going to be really interesting. They're definitely in the hunt there.
Yeah.
They're definitely in the hunt. Other teams that when you're talking about heating up, that you didn't have on here.
Yeah.
And since you punched me and interrupted me, I'm going to add them. I like where Fishers is going.
Yeah.
I think Fishers is really trending upward. After getting smacked in the mud sock, those guys have done nothing but get better. And I think that they're going to be a tough outcome tournament time if they keep moving in the right direction. I keep telling you, come tournament time, you need a quality point guard, and you need a general. You know, and I tell you, the point guard is going to be your bro, and you got a solid bro, and Rose Duffy is good a general as anybody. And the thing she's got going for her over all of the other centers in the area that are elite setters, she's a senior, and her hunger is going to be dangerous.
Stand.
Yeah, last stand. You better watch out. The others, I think Westfield is getting better. I think Westfield is getting a lot better. You know, keep an eye on them.
Yeah.
Because they've got some young talent. They just, like I told you, you're no longer an incoming freshman is now closer to being a sophomore playing wise at this halfway mark. The Westfield team is dangerous. Another don't sleep on them team. I like them a lot. I really, really was impressed with Center Grove. You're looking, going, Mike, they're top 10. I'm just telling you, they're getting better. I was really, really impressed with the defensive intensity of Avon. They're beat up. They're beat up, and they're young. But I really was impressed with what they're doing as well. And you're going, Avon's been top 5 all year. I don't care. You said moving up, trending. And I like those guys trending as well as anybody. And all of the teams that we mentioned are going to be nasty people to play in late October. And that's going to be fun.
One of the things I always think back was when Huser and Ravenel and those guys
made that run.
They were down in dumps. They had really had a very average year, and then they caught fire in sectionals, and were just a couple points away from getting out of regional, which at that point they lost to Zionsville. Zionsville almost made the state championship.
Yeah, let's keep in mind we're not a million years removed from when Chittard had a losing record going into sectionals and just caught on fire. Mary Kilbane and the gang led by Larry Lenhart and made a run all the way to the state title. You know, I'm telling you right now, what's going on right now doesn't matter. We're going to talk about the top 10 in a second. What a weird week. A weird week, and it was nuts. The only thing that was consistent, Yorktown. That's it. After that, everybody was all over the place. All I'm saying is, if you're a fan of high school volleyball and your team is not playing well, who cares? Who cares? When sectionals start, you just have to do one thing: win the last game you play. There will be 4 teams in the state of Indiana that win the last game they play, and those 4 teams will be getting rings with blue jewels in it. They will be the 4 state champions. Other than that, who cares what's going on? So that's scary. You look, Yorktown's won 1,000 sets in a row. You know what? They can't hiccup. When it comes sectional time, now it's one game at a time, and you got to win your last one. And so let's go on into the rankings since it was such a bizarre week.
GearMunciana.com rankings. We talked about how insane it was, but we'll hit on honorable mentions first.
I still like Burris and LCC. LCC, a small school. Sooner or later, we're gonna have to move those guys. You know, all they're doing is everything they're supposed to do.
Yep.
You know, 23-0 or 22-0. That's just insane. And we talked about Burris. I mean, Burris's losses are really good losses.
Yeah. I mean, talking about Yorktown, talking about DeWanger, and then
Penn.
Penn.
Yeah. So you got 3 losses against 3 really big schools,
all ranked.
And all ranked. And I think they get Newcastle this week, which is important because it's a sectional foe. But that Burris team is really, really good, right on the fringe. Right on the fringe.
All right, number 10. Got a tie.
Castle and Penn.
Yep.
Castle, I haven't had a chance to see them. Like I said, what they're doing is special. I mean, all they're doing is beating everybody they play, and that's what you want to see. I don't think that they've seen some of the competitive matches that some of these teams ahead of them have.
Yeah.
I watch these kids come in here from HSE to do lessons or whatever, and these guys, I'm telling you, in that conference with HSE, the only way that conference gets tougher if you put, Michigan State in there or Purdue. It's amazing how many good. They have no soft matches. Castle's got to play a little bit more comp before I make that call and let them move up. Penn had a pretty interesting. They're good. They've got a solid middle that is just dominant. They play hard. They're as well coached as anybody in the state of Indiana. They're fun, man, and they're moving in the right direction. They lost 3 times in the Cathedral tournament. They lose a battle to Center Grove. They lose a battle where they came out and really were a little shell shocked by Newcastle, and then they got upset in my mind by Cathedral.
Yeah.
But those are 3 tough losses, and that Penn team. They traveled all the way down and had to play. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm keeping them in the 10.
Yep. All right, number 9. We got another tie.
Brebeuf and Carroll. You hit it on the nose. I mean, Brebeuf was on the door. They were on the doorstep of having an absolutely phenomenal weekend. By beating Providence, and Providence without Terry Perica. People would look and go, well, it's just a coach. No. She is the Energizer Bunny, man. You watch her bounce on the sidelines, and that's a difference.
Yep.
With all due respect to whoever steps in for her, there's only one Terry Perica. So no Terry Perica. In my mind, it's like losing one of your best players. And so, not to take anything away from Brebeuf, goes out with Reagan Hopp and just hammers. They beat Brebeuf, and then they lose to Westfield. Westfield is a team that's coming up. But that Brebeuf team is still trying to find a balance where they're consistently great.
Yep.
But they're moving.
Yep.
And if you haven't noticed, they've started to move up this poll. Carroll, all they've done is win. This week they had a really good week. They lost to Yorktown. And Yorktown beat them fairly handily. But Carroll's good.
Yep.
Carroll's very, very good. Maybe not to the point where they were with Jackie Quaid when she was rolling through there. The Illinois Star is killing it right now, but Carroll's closing back in on that territory. 19-3, they're good.
Number 8, welcome back.
People threw dirt on their graves after the Mud Sock game where I picked them inaccurately. I got that before Jason. You text me or blow me up, but I will tell you, this Fishers team is growing, and they're growing fast. That's why I wanted to add them to your heating up. These guys have swept everybody once they've got it since everybody's been back. And they beat Avon in 4, right? I mean, these guys are good.
Yep.
And beating Avon, and like I said, Avon, Eastridge is a little beat up, not a lot beat up. She's about 50% in my book, but she's still good, man. And Avon missing 1 player, but Avon still, I tell you, I don't know if there's a team in the state that serves it better than Avon. And you were at the match. You said Fishers passed their dimes against them.
They passed really well. I thought they served very, very well. Kept Avon off the net, and Avon had a couple young kids that, they're swinging against big blocks 10 feet off the net, and that's
well. And the other thing Fishers did that a lot of teams don't do is Fishers attacked the heck out of the left side of Avon.
Yep.
Most people don't go to the right side. I'll tell you, Avon would be as good as anybody in the country on the right side with Eastridge if she was healthy. Fishers went to the right side of the court and attacked them.
Yep.
And that's a lot of, once again, Rose Duffy.
Yep. Number 7.
Center Grove. Center Grove was really good this weekend. Really the only match that the only match they lost was Newcastle. But I will tell you, in the second set, first set Newcastle played focused, locked and loaded, jumped out on them, and Center Grove slowly pulled back in. Second set, Center Grove played maybe as good a defense as I'd seen all year long. There were two teams in that tournament that played defensively lights out, Avon, Center Grove. Center Grove, scrappiness, little Shimber running around all over the place, going crazy. That group was really, really good. I was impressed with their back row the first time they played Newcastle. I was more impressed with them this time in a losing effort. MJ Hamill is an artist. She's very, very good. And their hitters, she's got targets now. She's got people who can get her home. That's a really good team. Their only loss this weekend was to Newcastle in a great match.
Good. All right, number 6.
Dwinger. You know, Dwinger didn't get, other than, Burris, a good Warsaw team, a solid Angola team. You know, they went through some people this weekend. I think Angola is better than a lot of people think. I think Warsaw is better than a lot of people think. And we already talked about Burris. But Fort Wayne Dwinger, all they've done is just stay steady.
Yep.
You know, and I think their best volleyball's coming. That's a good team. I'm anxious to see them play.
All right, top 5.
HSE, if they can get everybody healthy. You know, now, Phillips has been dinged up a little, and lose Big Zeta out of the middle of the court. And all they've done is stay with people regardless. You know, it's
Shelton out that one.
Yeah, Shelton was out in a big tournament. I mean, these guys have been a little bit snake bit. But all they've done, they're 19-6, but they may play the toughest schedule in the state of Indiana.
Correct.
I mean, they don't back off anybody. And this team is a team that, once again, I hate to keep saying this, come tournament time, you may overlook a little bit because it's 6 losses, 7 losses, whatever they're going to end up at. But this team is really, really, really going to be dangerous if they can get healthy, especially. Yep. But they're my number 5.
Yep. All right. Number 4.
Newcastle. I drop them down because of the loss to Avon. I think it's fair. They handled Perry Meridian. They handled Penn. They went to war, and I tell you, the sets they were dialed in. The first set against Center Grove was really good volleyball. Both teams really good volleyball. Second set, Center Grove kind of dominated, and as Sarah Roush said, the coach probably outplayed them, outworked them. I thought the Center Grove team was hungrier in set 2. Set 3, Zoe Conway and the gang really applied a lot of service pressure, and it was the first time I saw Center Grove break passing-wise all year. Newcastle is going to have to do 2 things. One, they're going to have to play hard every single frickin' point. And it's not that hard. That's just a matter of waking up in the morning and when your feet touch the ground, just rise and grind. Decide we're going to go. That's one, and that's the easy one. 2, they're going to have to limit their errors. They are a high error team. If Newcastle plays against a team that is willing to weather the run, meaning being willing to play long rallies, Newcastle doesn't win long rallies because they're so high error. In the Avon match in the championship of the Cathedral tournament, 6 straight errors, 6 straight attacking errors took them from a 9-7 lead to a 13-9 deficit. And then they pulled it back and almost got out of that thing. There's some rotations where they've got to get better. In those rotations, you don't have to be great. You just can't hurt the team. Newcastle falls to 4, and that's why.
Number 3, I think it's the lowest point they've been all year.
It's maybe the lowest I've ever had them. I want to take this opportunity. Terry Perica, back surgery. Get healthy. Get healthy. I tell you, she's one of the great jewels of our game. Beautiful woman, beautiful coach, and what the game needs. She coaches for the right reasons. She coaches the right way, and all she's done is put together a legacy that's it's going to be going for a long, long time. I hate to hear that she's having a little back issue, but I really want her to get healthy soon. That team without her loses a tough match to Brebeuf, but does come back and beat HSE. Westville. Yep. And Providence is good. Yep. Providence is good, and every time I talk to anybody, Providence is right there with Yorktown in being able to handle the ball. Their big issue is going to be much like Yorktown has always been. is terminating against a big block. But I will tell you, this team is, I dropped them one just because of the loss, but I could keep them anywhere in the top three.
Yeah. All right, number 2, moving up.
I was really impressed with these guys. You saw them on, was it Tuesday?
Yeah.
And you came back singing the blues. I went and watched them on Saturday, and man, I loved them. Avon. Avon was, I told you, a player down, and Eastridge at 50% when you saw him. Eastridge still at 50%. In fact, Eastridge didn't play hardly at all day. Didn't play the first set with Newcastle, played the last 2. She did have the game-winning kill. Still hitting at about 50, 60%, but she is the only size on that team.
Yep.
I will tell you, I like the way this team serves. I love the tenacity on defense. These guys went after Newcastle with a tenaciousness that's I haven't seen this season, other than Yorktown. They did some things that were really neat. And keep in mind, this is a team that took Yorktown 20, 20, and 20.
Yep.
These guys, if they can get Eastridge healthy, from what I saw, they're unorthodox as heck. They're tiny. I mean, these guys are like posing for trophies. They're this tall. They are tiny. Everybody's about 5'7" across the board, except for Eastridge. But if these guys can get to a point where they've got a shot at you, they're dangerous because they're gutsy. I like that Avon team, and so we move them to 2. They belong at 2.
Yeah.
They belong, from what I saw, they belong at 2. If they get healthy, man, this could be a neat finish for the in the state.
And number 1, the number 3 team on Max Preps, 9th on Prep Volleyball.
I tell you what, I haven't seen them in a couple of weeks, and I probably need to go out and watch them just do what they do again this week. Yorktown is just special. It's a special team. 30 minutes into team camp, I said it was the best team they've ever had, and I tell you, what they're doing is historic. We got to start talking about these guys in the same breath as the Burris teams, the Cathedral teams, some of Dave Shondel's Central teams. This team, I'm telling you right now, is on a path right now that no one else has ever been on. This is history in the making. And I tell you, it's not easy. Everybody looks and says, well, they just win. No, keep in mind, that's hard. The pressure that's on you to continuously do what they're doing is crazy hard. My hat goes off to Steph Bloom. My hat goes off to Murd, Knuckles, and the gang. I'm telling you, what they're doing is ridiculous. I don't see, right now, anybody on this list that can beat them 3 times. I see some people that can beat them once in a game, one set. I don't see anybody that can play that locked and loaded for 3 sets to beat them.
Yep.
That's not saying it can't happen. If these guys can just buy in and keep getting better and keep making people chase them, it's going to be a year that people will talk about for the rest of their lives.
Yep.
This Yorktown team, number 1 in the state, and I'm telling you, I like them as the number 1 in the country. I really, really love what they do. It's my kind of volleyball. It's small ball, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and I think you need to get out and see some of these teams. I went out this weekend to Cathedral, and it was absolutely beautiful. Some of the volleyball I saw and some of the plays, it's amazing how much good volleyball goes on in this state. Take the time to go out and catch a game if you get a chance. That would be it. You get a chance, tweet, text Randy, happy birthday tomorrow. I mean, the cat's, he's on cloud 9. He's married, he's having a birthday, he's leaving here to go eat cake. I mean, it's insane. With that said, Rando, happy birthday, my little friend. To you guys, be good sports fans. Be good sports fans and enjoy some great volleyball this week. We'll see you next week.